If you're new to my channel, I usually do things like this.
Oh dear.
But today I'm going to try something new. I've wanted for a long time to do some 3D printing and some painting of my characters, and I've finally got a 3D print of Professor Eggtop. So I am going to do some painting for the very first time. I've watched lots of tutorials online. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but let's give it a go. Here we have the 3D print of Professor Eggtop. It's looking pretty cool. It came out much smoother than I thought, which is great.
Run away!
This is the base plate that he will stand on hopefully at the end. I think I might have to glue him on later, but that's okay. Because he can't stand up by himself, he needs to stand on this with a bit of styrofoam. This is the first bit of paint I opened. Oh, and that's the first bit of paint that I have touched. It just popped out right there. And here goes the first cover. I was planning to do two lots of paint covers on Professor Eggtop, but as you'll see later on, it turned out to be quite a few more different layers. The brushes I'm using aren't that expensive. They're actually quite cheap. So I think for my next one, I'll purchase some better brushes. They did the job for now. So here comes the second coat. You can start to see that he's getting a bit noisy here. And I was trying to paint around his mustache and his eyes and his glasses, but in the end I decided that was too difficult, so I just painted his whole face the one color. And here I'm using a much finer brush to take away some of the excess paint. And also it was quite difficult to get into his hands here, so I needed to use a fine brush in there as well. Okay, so here is some white paint. I'm going to start painting his white lab coat using the fine brush to begin with to get the details in here. It was much more difficult than I thought. Using the bigger brush here to paint most of the area of his coat. And you can see that it's pretty thin, the first coat on his coat. But after a few different layers, it's started to look pretty good. Now, I didn't really like the first layer of skin color. So here we are doing a different color. I've never really mixed paint before, so that was quite difficult to get the right color I wanted. And when it dries, it actually just changes a little bit. So I tried to mix a new skin color there. We'll see how that one goes. Okay, so here are some even finer brushes, a bit better quality than the other brushes, to try and get into the smaller spaces like his teeth and his eyes in there. This brush I wanted to try because it has a bend at the end there, and I was using that just to give it a go, see what it was like, and it was pretty good. But I preferred this one to do the red of his glasses. And then here we are painting the pens in his pocket with black there. And even a finer paintbrush to paint his eyes. So there we go. That's the first full paint job from Professor Eggtop.
No popcorn!
But when I left it overnight, I realized that I wanted to get him a bit more smoother. The paint was leaving streaks and that over him. So I decided to sand him down. I got some very fine sandpaper and I sanded him down a little bit, and then I started painting him again. And this is like the third coat on him. I also tried this time to put tape on his skin so I wouldn't paint white on his skin. It worked for the most part. It was still difficult to try not to paint his skin, but it worked quite well. Next time I'll be doing more of that. So as you can see, the white isn't really on his skin, but if you look very carefully, it still didn't do the best job. And again, I wasn't happy with the skin color. So I tried to mix some more skin color paint, but when I was doing it, I realized that I was mixing some of the wet paper into the paint. So I had to start again and mix some more paint. This time I tried to add a bit of yellow in there as well, just to see what that would do. I also found that one of my lights was giving me a sort of like a false color. So I had to turn the yellow light on and off every now and then, like now, to see what the true color was in natural light. And then I painted this again, and then I realized I'm going over the details. So I ended up painting over his face again, which ended up making more noise and lumpiness on his face. Mixing the colors was very difficult, especially white and black. I only use a very small amount of black when you want to do gray, because you have to use a lot of white to bring it to a light gray, which I realized. And then I started painting his whole face again. And here he is. So he's too much paint on his face. So the next one I do, I'll try and make the paint a little less oily and add some water to make it a bit more thinner so it doesn't clump and make lumps on his face. So there he is, Professor Eggtop, fully painted. I learned some great stuff of what not to do, so that's what this video is about. How not to paint a 3D printed character. But he turned out okay. I quite like it. He is a bit noisy around the face, as you can see in the close-ups. But yeah, I've got another one here that I will be painting, and hopefully he comes out a bit better. It was good fun. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I did painting him. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.